Yo, what is up, boys and ghouls? JT coming at you today with a video. Today we're going to look at some pulp, science fiction, horror, weird fantasy magazines. Now, these are reprints of EC Comics Weird Fantasies. Got 2 issues here. I've had these since the early 2000s. I think I picked these up. Now, I don't know excuse me, what year these came out. The copyright on the inside says 80 something, but I think these came out in the 90s. I don't know if this is around the same time that Gladstone reissued, I think it was Gladstone, reissued the Tales from the Crypt series. Now, they did do Tales from the Crypt in these sizes as well. I think I had some of those in Vault of Horror, Crime and Suspense. Had some of those in the past and sold them over the years, but I don't know why I hung on to these. But I'd like to get some more of them back in the collection. Busted these out and I've been reading them. Now, what's cool about these is they do have different covers, and these were actual covers of issues back in the day. Now, if you don't know EC Comics, it was Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Weird Science, Crime and Suspense. Let's see if we got some pictures in here. Yeah, there's one called Panic, Shock and Suspense Stories, Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, The Haunt of Horror, just all kinds. EC specialized in horror comics, and even though these say weird science fantasy, a lot of times they lean on the horror side as well, like stories maybe about other worlds or aliens or space travel or things like that, but they usually have like a horror comedic twist on the end, kind of like Tales from the Crypt always did. And that's the kind of stuff I always gravitated towards as a kid. Couple stories in this one. The Children. This was a great story. I don't really want to give away too much in case you guys want to go read this, but basically these astronauts have terraformed life on another planet, and they start reproducing, having kids, but the government is taking their kids away, and they keep trying to get them back, and every year they tell them, we're going to keep them for so much longer. So eventually the people revolt, and they march down there to get their kids. And if you want to read this and are planning on it, just go ahead and pause here and skip over what I'm about to tell the ending here. In the end, they go to get their kids, but it turns out the government had been keeping them from them because the planet had changed their DNA. So all their kids were like deformed creatures, but they still end up loving them anyway. So yeah, that's usually the kind of fare you get in here. Fish Story, second story, that one's pretty good. Killer alien fish race with a good twist ending. Flying Machine, that was adapted from a Ray Bradbury one. I didn't really care for this one too much, and I'm on this one right now. Caveman Story called Fair Trade. Got my bookmark in there. It's been years since I've read these, so I can't even really recall. It looks like the back cover was number 24, and the front, that's nice artwork there. Front cover this is Classics number 7, so I think there was like maybe 9 of these or something like that I read, and they just reproduced a bunch of the stories. But like I said, this was number 24 cover. Now this cover is a famous cover as well, but I don't know what issue that was. As you can see up top there, EC Comics. Awesome stuff. I remember I bought these from a comic book shop that's no longer in business, early 2000s. Went in there, and the dude had a huge display of Gladstone and all this Tales from the Crypt stuff. And I wished I had the display. It actually had the old hag, the Crypt Keeper, and the other host on there in the actual display. So wished I could have got that. Sadly, it's probably gone. So, yep, another Weird Science here. Not as a big fan as this cover, but it looks like some cloning action going on there. Some women's, space women's. Now this cover's cool. Got 2 astronauts fighting some kind of bio blob alien race species thing. Looks like this was November 22. I like how Fantasies wrote out there. Haven't busted this one open yet. It says Incredible Science Fiction Stories. This one says it's got some Ray Bradbury in it as well. So Bradbury's always hit or miss with me, but Some people will say he's the king. Haven't read any of these stories yet to comment on them, so plan on checking this one out after I finish up the other one. Ooh, that's looks like a cool one there. We got some dinosaur action. I love old school science fiction dinosaur stuff. Just reminds me of like Mark's Toys and things like that. So looks like there was a mail away from some of these box sets as well. It'd be cool to get your hands on there. $270 for all 3 sets, 100 each. So maybe they did more than a couple of issues of these. Weird Fantasy, Two-Fisted Tales, Frontline Combat, Crime and Suspense, Shock and Suspense Stories. And this one I think is Weird Fantasy. It's like flying saucers. Pretty cool. Yeah. So that's it for my small weird science collection. Thanks for checking it out. Just gonna try to get on here and do more talk of cool old weird stuff. So thanks for watching, dudes. Peace.